Is it possible to be addicted to suffering?
I used to be.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.
Anyway, we are excited and honored, actually, that for over 30 years, we've been able to come alongside you, not only helping you sell, buy, and invest in real estate, but really over 317 times we got to do that, but really also helping you build your faith, helping you build your fund, helping you build your finances, even helping you build, flourish, and strengthen within your relationship. So really, 30 years of building your life, your wealth, and your home. And now we're getting to explore how we can become addicted. That's like a strong word. How we can become addicted to suffering.
My problem is I'm sitting here and the song Addicted to Love is just running and running and running through my head.
Is that suffering?
No. But is it running through your head now?
I hope not. So running through our head, though, is really how we get to become addicted to suffering. So Suzanne,
it's having a bad situation or a situation you don't like on repeat.
Yeah,
like on autoplay, like
an autoplay, and then going, "Have you heard the song?" And then the friend goes, "No," and you go tell them the situation, and then you go on to the next one. Did I tell you about? And you go on, and we all do a certain amount of this.
Yeah.
The trick is to catch ourselves.
And are we doing it about good things, or are we doing it about things that suffering. Are out of our control, which extends our suffering, which we talked about in
segment A.
Yeah. And so I've noticed in the past I kept sharing that. If I got a
broken rib?
No. Yeah, that too, a little bit. If I got injured, or if I got a hate mail. A letter or an email that was abusive, felt it attacked my character, or my boss was doing things that were negative towards me, then in the past I would keep sharing that with coworkers or family or friends. And so every time I get to relive it, and there's a chemical reaction
and not only do you relive it, oftentimes people in our life validate our feelings. You're right. Oh my gosh, that's so unfair. Yeah. And now
I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Oh, how are you doing? So
I get a payoff for it. And that's why I continue to go to the next person. Did I tell you what happened to me?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you can be addicted to suffering, I think is what you're saying.
Well, I think you can. And what's interesting is suffering's a habit, as is most of our emotional responses that we habitually do. Because a habit's just an automatic response to something.
Right.
So we don't think of habits that way. So suffering's a habit. I have the habit of suffering. And if you think about it, habits are addictive things. They're pathways
they're pattern, they're ways of being.
Right. And so there's some habits that we can admit to being addicted to.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are addicted to coffee, but when you come down and you say suffering, people are like, "Ooh,
I'm not addicted to
I'm not addicted to suffering," but it's the same pattern. It's the same thing. When this happens, I do this and I continue to do it until something else comes and replaces it. Then I talk about that thing. So I think the first thing is understanding that it's a habitual response to something you may not like.
You know what I just thought of?
Wait, do we just say that one more time before you think?
Sure.
Habitual response to something we don't like.
Or something that has us feel out of control, or something that we feel the victim of. It's a habitual response. And if you just sort of think about it that way, it's like, oh yeah.
It just happens, and now I get to decide. So what did you think of, Ken?
Well, when there isn't enough bad happening to me or in my life for me to share that and suffer, then I'll share in someone else's suffering. I'll watch the news and see how this person was injured, or that country attacked that country.
Absolutely.
And then I talk about that suffering. And it's almost like third-party suffering. I'm suffering on behalf of them, and I'm looking for a response from the person I'm talking to.
Well, what's interesting is it's almost like society has conditioned us to look for suffering. And and for many people, they feel alive through suffering because they haven't been programmed for gratitude. They haven't been programmed to look for good things. Their conditioning is, did you hear what happened on the news? Did you see this? So we're almost taught to look at and be attracted to suffering.
Yeah.
So it becomes a habitual conversation. And then for those people who were like, yeah, I'm not talking about suffering. I'm talking about how wonderful life is. They're like, you're not realistic. You're so pie in the sky. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's like good news is not news.
It's right. It's not like, what? What's wrong with you? So we live in an environment where suffering is almost like passed on through our conditioning, our environment, our socialization. So when you start being like, oh my gosh, life is wonderful. I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful. People are like, what is wrong?
I usually tell people life is so good. If it was any better, there'd be a law against it.
Absolutely.
People don't know how to handle that.
So I would, when somebody go, how you doing? I'd say, excellent. And they'd be like, oh, okay. What is that? Like,
What are you supposed to do with that, right? That's interesting.
So that's our environment.
Being excellent is a choice.
It is. And even when things aren't always going the way I want, and I could choose suffering, I will still choose excellent.
Right. Because I think, let's be real, we could always choose suffering. There's enough hard stuff that comes at us. There's enough stuff in life that really isn't going our way. Things that we wish hadn't happened or we wouldn't ideally go after.
So you are making an excellent point. I love what you said. You can always choose suffering.
Mm-hmm.
The mastery or the discipline is to choose not to suffer in the face of things not going right.
Right.
Because that's how we shift our life.
Despite our circumstances. It sounds very biblical, like, choosing joy, having joy in the midst of poor circumstances. Is a choice.
And they say that joy is not created by external circumstances. Joy is a chosen way of being.
It's an inside job.
It's an inside joy.
Mindset mastery. Man, she's good, huh?
So no matter what's going on, do I have the discipline? Do you have the discipline to choose joy, to choose happiness, to choose solution?
And you know what you have the choice of doing right now? You have the choice of deciding whether you want to look up SuzanneHart.com, SuzanneHart.com, and looking into her Mindset Mastery Mentoring. Sounds fascinating. I think I'll be there.
You are there on a regular basis.
Been there, done that, but you never can get enough of a good thing.
Well,
we never get past it.
Absolutely. But this is the interesting thing. We come together and we mastermind all the time. We mastermind around your kitchen table.
Which we're kind of doing right now. We're just letting everybody else sit in on the conversations that we have around this kitchen table.
So the mastermind is a similar thing. It happens online with people across the country who are coming together to mastermind and find solutions to what's stopping them from moving forward in their life.
And that's done over Zoom, so they don't have to travel to your kitchen.
Yes.
Or mine.
Nice. Yeah, so Eckhart Tolle said, if you're in the habit of creating suffering for yourself, you are probably creating suffering for others too.
That's deep.
That's heavy.
That is good.
Heavy and deep.
We're honored to be your advocates towards building wealthy lives and a life that is exponential.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.